Welcome to sunny Southern California, or it was sunny about 20 minutes ago before you got here.
Thanks.
How are you doing so far?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I thought I was, underdressed in the morning, so I put on another layer. I then became overdressed, and now I'm underdressed again because I disrobed.
We have
layer.
There's millions of band T-shirts for sale inside, so you can like layer up with
Okay.
get an extra small and then a small and then a medium.
graduate
And
the
just graduate.
sizes
Just get
so
like
that, yeah.
walk around like the Michelin Man eventually. So
It sounds like a good
born and
idea.
raised where?
I'm born and raised in Melbourne, Australia.
But you don't really have a full Aussie accent. What happened? How did you lose it? Or
Uh,
how did you?
I think I've still got it. It depends on. I don't know. I still think I have it,
You still
and
think
that's
you
the
have
main
it.
thing.
You don't. So have you spent
know
a
what?
lot of time away?
I try to watch Chopper. Have you ever seen that movie Chopper? Great
Yeah.
Australian film. I try to watch that at least once a month to keep my accent.
Right.
And talking to my mum obviously helps.
So when did you move away?
I moved away. I moved away about 4 years ago to New York, and yeah, I love it there. I try to go back to Melbourne, at least once or twice a year. But I love the States and I love New York.
Was it 4 years ago that the cover came out? The Smiths
Yeah.
Smiths cover? Yeah, you have to say it like that, right?
Yeah, you kind of do. Yeah, it was 2007 when that came out. So that was.
And obviously you recorded it. A good 6 months before it came out, yeah.
It was probably a little longer than that actually. It was probably about 8 months to a year before. But yeah, that was so much fun. Like working with Mark Ronson was amazing because he's a good friend of mine. He kind of he introduced me to New York. He brought me over there when I was 20 years old and chucked me in a studio, and that was kind of how.
How did he hear about you and your vocal style? Was it something he knew of you from someplace, or obviously somebody has to be introduced to somebody in the first place. So did you know about him first, or how did that work out?
Yeah, I just sent him fan mail like every day, and he finally read one.
Seriously?
No. No, I didn't know who he was. He gave me a call out of the blue. He was a DJ in New York, and he
Right.
kind of gave me a call out of the blue, and I'd made this demo, and he heard it, and he said he loved it and wanted to, bring me to New York and try to make some music. At that point, he was DJing a lot, so this was probably a good way of, he saw my work as something he could sink his teeth into as a producer. Right. So that's where that sort of came from.
You almost said DJing in the way like it's a bad thing, like Fatboy Slim's, a DJ, and
well, Fatboy.
Some of the best DJs in the world have made some of the most amazing albums because they look at it in a completely different.
DJs are incredible. I mean, I grew up in the era of DJs when it used to actually be a skill set. You used to have real vinyl and real records, and some of my friends could do amazing sort of trickery, and it was almost like a skill, the same type of skill set as being able to play the guitar well. Unfortunately, technology has robbed us of that. And now you've got these sort of flavor of the month DJs that can turn up to a club with an iPod and call themselves a DJ. But nonetheless, I think it may have reminded us all that DJing really is just about playing other people's great music. So, who knows?
But
it's a double-edged sword.
At the same time, taking stuff that was underappreciated and putting it into something, and so that some artist that was long forgotten in the '60s suddenly has a great riff that's out there. Massive Attack, probably one of the best examples. When Massive Attack first came out, they stole stuff from Billy Cobham that people had forgotten about, but Billy Cobham suddenly started making money watching the Super Bowl, and suddenly here's this Massive Attack riff. He goes, I wrote that.
Yeah. Totally.
So he went and called up his publishers, why haven't you collected it? He goes, oh, we did.
Yeah.
We just didn't pay you yet.
Right.
So he had to go sue his publisher for his money. But in a way, that's, the Ronsons of the world, Fatboy Slim, Massive Attack, and what they do is an art form in the same way that the Beatles were ripping off R&B anyway.
Well, I think, Mark and his production sort of grew from that again, and he started, putting computers and turntables to the side, and the way that we made my album, there's not one sample on it. There's actually no computers used at all for the whole album. It was all recorded, to 2-inch tape like it was back in the day, and the reverb that you hear is a real spring reverb unit, and Dap Kings played on every song, so it was kind of like this. It sounds like we've sampled records to make the album, but it's actually all recorded in It was all recorded in 2008.
It's amazing. So all recorded live with the Dap Kings.
Yeah,
That must have been quite a pleasure to, because you can actually manipulate musicians as opposed to going, well, that sample doesn't quite work.
Yeah, totally.
So was that a mind-blowing experience?
I mean, I've been a fan of the Dap Kings for the best part of, the last sort of, I mean, they're just an amazing band. Sharon Jones is an incredible performer, an amazing singer. And they tour a lot. They're a real strong touring band. And so I've been hearing about them for years. They'd come and play Melbourne. They'd come and play in Australia. And then when I finally got the chance to work with them, it was like a dream come true. They're almost like one person, made
Right.
up of 9 different sort of limbs, almost, with 9 different instruments attached. But it's kind of, it's incredible
I know
to see
exactly
how
what
they...
you're saying. I've witnessed that before on stage.
They
with
read each
various
other's
bands.
mind, and they just kind of... There's not a lot of talk, and there's a whole lot of playing, and it sounds
Right.
really good.
It's all mind melding. It's all coming through there.
Yeah, totally.
Well, congratulations
Thank you.
on this and continued success. And I think that the way that the world was kind of introduced to you was probably more organic than most, as far as artists searching out other artists and stuff. And now the fact that you've got the chance to do something like this, especially with the Dap Kings, makes it a hell of a lot more interesting than some of the other stories I've heard this weekend of bands I won't mention the names of. But very nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.